welcome back to Kavanaugh's Corner. Today on the channel we're going to be reviewing a somewhat new release. This actually came out like 4 months ago, but this really slipped under the radar for me, and I was very surprised because this is a movie that I actually really enjoy. To me, I think this actually is one of the most underrated sequels of all time. Movies like this don't get made anymore, but it's also a really touching and emotional film. None of this would be expected with a movie where the main character is a robot, but the movie, of course, is Short Circuit 2, and this is starring Fisher Stevens, Michael McKean, Jack Weston, Cynthia Gibb. There's a lot of really good actors and actresses in this movie. But, you know, the star is Johnny Five here, number 5. Just an amazing amount of practical effects work in this film. And honestly, you know, I at times really enjoyed this movie even more than the first one. The third act of this film, if you don't get emotionally destroyed by it, and those of you that have seen this movie know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to spoil the film for anyone who hasn't seen it. I mean, this thing came out in 1988, but still, that third act is brutal on a level that you will never forget. And even though it does become slightly lighter again, it's a pretty heavy conclusion that this movie has. Sony Pictures here has a new Blu-ray of Short Circuit 2. This is kind of like a special edition, but it's not marked special edition at all. This previously came out on Blu-ray a few years ago, and that Blu-ray came and went pretty quickly. And I actually own it. I don't have it over here with me right now, but I own that because I do like the Short Circuit films. I really enjoy them. But that previous Blu-ray really was not the greatest quality. I mean, it was okay, but it really seems now that Sony Pictures now, you know, I don't know if they got the rights back or whatever, but they have remastered the film and even gone and put a ton of special features on this Blu-ray. So they really honored this film, and I'm glad that they did because it's deserving of it. It's a very, very well-made film. So before we go any further, I do want to just point out the elephant in the room about this movie, and the first one as well. As much as I enjoy these films, there is definitely a very inappropriate and dated thing about this. Fisher Stevens infamously portrays Ben Javari, a character who is Indian, and portrays it in brownface. And there's no other way to say it. It wasn't right then. It still isn't right now. But he is phenomenal in the film as that character. I did not know for many, many years growing up that that man was not Indian. And if that doesn't say something about Fisher Stevens as a great actor, I don't know what you can say about that. Again, totally inappropriate. It's not okay. I am totally in agreement with that, and I think even he would agree with you with that. But my whole thing is that I've seen him in other films. I saw him in the Super Mario Brothers movie growing up. Now that movie has a cult following. And I didn't know it was the same guy. I had no idea it was the same guy. So it definitely is going to be a stopping point for a lot of people if they want to get into this film or even the first film. It is a very, you know, stereotypical character, but it is an endearing character, and there are some really touching moments with that character. So take what you will from it, but I think the movie does outshine the extremely dated and inappropriate stuff going on there. So without further ado, let's get into the picture quality here on this new Blu-ray. I have to say I was very surprised when I started the disc up. This has got an incredible new transfer. It is definitely better than the older Blu-ray, far and away better than any DVD copy or anything else I've ever seen of the film. The picture now has a much more vivid and lifelike color palette. Blues are much more apparent now. Reds are much more vibrant. Skin tones are handled really well. And even though this is only a 1080p disc, I gotta say the detail level on this is through the roof as well. I actually noticed a lot of new things that I've never seen in this film before. There are a lot of shots of a Johnny Five where he's rolling along, and you can actually see like these antennas, these black, very thin antennas coming out of his back. And those are, you know, again, back in the day, I never even saw them, but now you can really see them. And those are what's controlling him. Those are the ones where whenever he's in motion, you can see those antennas because they're controlling his movement off camera. Some of the effects, you know, again, the physical effects are incredible. The robotics used in this were way ahead of their time. And they look really good. Johnny looks incredible. That look of him just looks amazing. And his little stickers and stuff, you can really see every little thing now. And it's very, very impressive. The other thing I really noticed about this new Blu-ray is they have mitigated the film grain in a way that doesn't affect the picture in any way. The picture quality now is very detailed, but the film grain is not heavy in any way, shape, or form. It's a very low film grain, low amount of film grain, I should say. It looked fantastic, and I honestly couldn't ask for anything better. Honestly, if this was on a 4K disc, I think the only better improvement we would get would be a slightly higher picture quality with HDR, and I very much doubt they're going to put this on a 4K Blu-ray. Maybe someday they will, but for this Blu-ray here, I was blown away by how great the picture quality was. It was very, very impressive, and honestly, in terms of just standard Blu-rays, it's one of the best that I've seen of an older film in a long time, especially one that, you know, was very much met with mixed reviews and didn't do well at the box office. They really went above and beyond to restore this film, and I'm glad that they did. They did a really good job with the picture. Now, the audio quality is a little bit simpler here. It's a stereo DTS HD master audio. It's just a 2.0 stereo. Nothing special. It sounded pretty solid, though, I gotta say. The music in the film sounded great. I love the score to this film by Charles Fox. It's a catchy, very uplifting kind of score. It's jazzy, it's fun, and then when things get serious, boy, does that score change. It's really impressive. It's a very nuanced score, and I think it's actually one of my favorite scores in a film of all time. I wish I was kidding. I really love the score to this film. Besides all that, I really think they did a very good job with the audio on this. The dialogue was crystal clear. The only complaint I have is that it was a little quiet, and I did have to turn it up a few notches. But other than that, it's a small complaint. It still sounded great. No issues with it whatsoever. Sound effects sounded awesome. It's pretty much the original audio track for the film in DTS HD. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Again, just a little low on the volume levels, but it was fine. Once I turned it up, everything was fine. Good job with the audio. Now, the biggest thing here is that this comes with a slew of new special features. So there's a full-length audio commentary by director Kenneth Johnson, who I'm so glad they got to talk about this film because his insight on the making of this film was amazing to hear. So definitely a must-listen if you're a big fan of this film. There's a making-of featurette that also features Kenneth Johnson, where he's talking about the making of the film and how they went about doing the special effects with Johnny Five, how they worked out the movement and little things like that. The fact that they had to move the film from shooting actually on location in New York City to Canada, which was really interesting. So that's an interesting thing there. Watching the movie now, you can definitely tell it's not in New York, but you know, if you didn't know it, you may not actually see that. There is another featurette called Nuts and Bolts, Writing Short Circuit 2, and that's with the writers S.S. Wilson and Brent Maddock, who also, I think, wrote Tremors. So two very good writers there. They also wrote the original Short Circuit, which is why I think this movie works so well, because they actually came back and carried the story on. Very interesting stuff. There is a bunch of storyboard sequences with the director's commentary, rehearsal videos with the actors and the robot, an actor profile on Fisher Stevens, who again is fantastic in this film, even though, you know, that portrayal is, you know, very much, you know, dated, extremely dated, but he still does an amazing job in this. There is also a behind-the-scenes still gallery, which has a bunch of photos taken, you know, during the making of the film. So, I mean, this is a pretty fantastic Blu-ray. Like I mentioned, I'm a big fan of this film, so I really wanted to get this, and when I saw that, you know, they had a new transfer and everything, I was just blown away by it. It's definitely worth a pickup if you're a fan of this film. If you haven't seen it, but you've seen the original Short Circuit, you really got to see this movie. I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised and highly entertained. I think around 15, 16 bucks on Amazon right now, and it's worth every penny. It's definitely a great watch, and I'm going to leave a link in the description below to Amazon if you want to pick it up. If you do get that on there, I do get a little kickback on the channel. So I highly appreciate it if you use that link to get this film. Until next time, again, I can't thank you enough for watching and coming back to Kavanaugh's Corner here. If you enjoyed this video, definitely hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel so I can bring you more reviews like this. My goal is to hit 3,000 subscribers here within the next few months, so I know I do very niche content, but I think physical media is extremely important. It's a big passion of mine, and if you are passionate about physical media, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I really, really would appreciate it. Until next time, I just want to wish all of you guys the best. Please stay safe out there, be kind to each other, and take it easy.